Welcome to Women Disrupting Tech. My name is Dirk-Jan Hupkes, and on this podcast I give the women who work in tech the platform they need to inspire and empower each other. Join me on a journey into the world of entrepreneurship, funding, biases and role models to discover the strategies for success in the tech industry. In other words, how women can disrupt tech. Are you ready to listen? Hey, welcome back to Women Disrupting Tech, and thank you for tuning in to episode 133. My guest in this episode is Simone Mink. She is the head of portfolio management at Mendix, but her journey didn't start in tech at all. In fact, Simone has a degree in leisure management. So how did she get from there to leading product strategy at a global tech company? In this conversation, we talk about exactly that. We discover how she learned to code without any technical background, why she asked for a job interview do-over, and how structure became her strength as a neurodivergent leader. So here's what you'll take away by listening. First, you don't need to be a science person to be able to write code. Simone shows that curiosity and pattern recognition matter more than the right credentials. Second, career growth requires self-advocacy. Sometimes you need to name the gap and step into it yourself. And third, resilience without boundaries can turn toxic. Mental toughness isn't a virtue when it ignores your physical limits. Plus, you'll discover the mindset shift that her mother made as Simone kept switching from one role to the next. It's change that reveals how confidence really builds over time. With that, let's talk about building a tech career on agency, agility, and bouncebackability. Please welcome to Women Disrupting Tech, Simone Mink. Simone Mink, good morning. Good to have
Good morning.
Let's start with some background on yourself. You started studying leisure management, which is not, let's say, an obvious way to get into tech. So how did you get from studying leisure management to your current role at Mendix?
Yeah, that was a very lucky break, I think. I graduated or wrote my graduation thesis at Rotterdam Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was always a bit of a nerd, right? Like already as a kid. And I was a very creative kid. Like I was always drawing and designing things. So also at leisure management, I was the one in our work groups that would create the logos and the brand, etc. So during my graduation thesis, I focused on digitalization of education in the zoo. Now, this is 2011-ish.
Okay.
So back then, apps in zoos weren't really a thing yet. There was literally one zoo in the whole world, Taronga Zoo in Sydney,
Mm-hmm.
that had an app that was more than just a map of the zoo. That was smart gaming.
Yeah.
So I wrote a thesis on what could Rotterdam Zoo, Blijdorp, do to digitalize their education. They had a lot of education in the zoo. How can they make that a more immersive, maybe smart gaming experience?
Mm-hmm.
And then as a part of that thesis, via a friend of mine, I got introduced to a small company from Rotterdam called Apps for Web, software development company. And they were the technical advisor during the thesis. Like, what does it take to build an app? What are the costs, et cetera, et cetera. And they saw some of my design work. And based off of that, they offered me a job as a web designer at their organization. And I took that job after a short conversation with my mother, who was freaking out, like, why are you doing something that you didn't study for? What if you fail? Da, 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 da. We're probably going to talk about my Pippi Longstocking mindset later on, but this is when I found my inner Pippi. I was like, well, what if I succeed? You know, what's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is that I suck at this job and that I still have my diploma to fall back on, and I'll find a job in event management or something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that job, and about a month in, Niels, the owner, asked me if I wanted to learn how to code as well. I was like, "Yeah, again, I have nothing to lose, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it."
So you upgraded from web design to coding
Yes, yeah.
in the space of a month.
In the space of a month, and I think within 2 months after that moment, I was already building full PHP, HTML, JavaScript websites. 'Cause I fell in love with coding instantly, and I turned out to be really good at it.
What
Um,
made it fun for you? The coding?
it's a puzzle. I like puzzles.
Uh-huh.
I like challenging myself, like, yeah, finding out how something works, getting, like, all the mechanisms. Um, and I think what a lot of people who aren't from the software world, um, maybe think that you have to be super technical, or
Yeah.
that kid that's really good at, like, physics, chemics, math, whatever,
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
be good at a job like this, which I absolutely was not. I was a languages person. Turns out coding is just learning a different language.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And to your point, I'm also more of a language person. I did learn a bit how to code, but this is back in 1980 something,
Yeah.
COBOL.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then first lesson obviously is this "Hello World" thing
Yeah, 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 yeah,
that
yeah.
you learn, which is I was like already really proud that I could make it, but it's something that stuck with me. Learning, it's indeed learning a different language
Yeah.
and about solving. I like the analogy of solving puzzles. Actually, I think it's quite apt. So.
Yeah, and the way I learned as well, and I'm really thankful for also Niels's mentorship in this, and I
Mm,
try to take that approach still when I coach people,
mm,
and I use that when I was a trainer, at Mendix. My first job at Mendix was technical trainer. I used that there as well. Is he wouldn't give me, if I got stuck, he wouldn't give me the answer immediately. He would give me a Google term,
yeah.
like, "Google this." And then if you can't
Ah.
figure it out an hour later, I will give you another hint. So it was like a little bit of a treasure hunt almost.
Yeah.
But it also made me, like, read documentation, and you pick up other things, you try things. And it was a very safe space for me to learn and also fail. And if I got really stuck and I was really frustrated, of course he would help me.
Hmm.
But he always encouraged me to try to find the solution myself and just try.
Yeah, and I think that is a really powerful way to learn things
Yeah,
by
yeah,
just trying and failing and seeing finding some ways that don't work.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So fast forward, you get to Mendix. First as a technical trainer, you said.
Yeah,
And what's your current role?
I'm currently head of portfolio management.
So what happened from being a technical trainer to take us through what happened
Yeah,
on that trajectory.
well, a lot. I've been with Mendix almost 10 years, right? So this is, I would say it's my longest commitment in life, besides my cat. But I started out as technical trainer. I did that job for about 3.5 years, I
Mhm,
think. And at some point, I reached that point of I've done this story. I've delivered this training so many times I can, like, literally dream it, do it with my eyes closed.
yeah.
And I reached a point where I either needed to become more of a specialist, so do
Mhm,
like a really technical deep dive into the platform to start delivering really specialized, advanced trainings,
mhm.
or accept that I was going to deliver the same story for the rest of my life. Neither of those options seemed appealing to me.
Okay. I was about
uh,
to say the doing something in perpetuity doesn't sound like you, but
no, no, absolutely not. And luckily, at around the same time, they started up a new department at Mendix, which was called the App Factory.
mhm,
And that was an internal Mendix build team. So a group of people that would build Mendix applications for Mendix.
mhm.
So to help all of our business units with their digital transformation journey.
Okay.
And I thought that sounded really interesting. And I connected with Matthijs, who was going to lead that team, lead that department. At the time, it was only 4 people, right? So department is a very big word, but it grew to 60 people within like a year. And at first, I had a conversation with him, like, "Listen, Matthijs, maybe I can join your like department part time." Still thinking about that I should become a specialist, right? I should do that technical deep dive
Hmm.
and pick up my Mendix development skills, like really go in depth, so I can use that with training. And he was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, we can do that." And I think the same evening, I had a minor panic attack, and I thought, "What did I do? I don't wanna stay a trainer." I should have had a different conversation.
Huh?
Um, so the next morning, I messaged Matthijs, and I say, "I think we had the wrong conversation. Can I get a do-over?" And he was like, "Sure, let's have a talk." And then I said, "I don't want to work for you part-time, and I don't wanna do development. I want to work for you full-time, and I think you are going to need someone that introduces agile. Like your team doesn't know how to do agile. None of them have worked agile before. That coaches the business units that we're going to be working with on how to be good product owners, and someone that manages that whole intake process for you. Someone that goes into the organization and finds the right applications to build,
Hmm.
the right use cases. That's what I want to do."
How did
And
how did you come up with that way of, yeah, almost pitching yourself? So you think you need this. This is what you have. This is what I think you need, and therefore you should hire me, because that takes a lot of conviction, I think. A and B, a lot of forward-looking vision on uh, and understanding what a customer really needs.
yeah, um, I don't know what drove it in that moment. I think since then I've made it a very conscious thing that I do.
Uh-huh.
I think at that moment it was more instinct. But it comes from listening,
Uh-huh.
understanding how the software world works, and having worked like in a development team, knowing how a team functions and what makes a team dysfunction,
Uh-huh.
and being able to tell him like, "Hey, I have that knowledge. I know you don't," because Matthijs has a security background. He's
Uh-huh.
currently also our field CISO. So I was like, "I have that knowledge, so that's what I can bring to the table, and I think that's something that you need."
But how did you get the let's say the self-confidence to pitch it like that? Because doesn't come natural to many women, and even for men, that this is like pretty ballsy, I would say.
um, I think a mixture of bravado and desperation.
Oh, bravado
um,
and desperation. Okay, let's
yeah.
double click on the bravado piece then.
um, the thing is, like, I have, or that at this point, I'd already pivoted my career twice,
Yeah.
right? So I had gone from leisure management to being a software developer.
Um,
I had gone from being a software developer to a technical trainer,
mhm,
um, with zero experience. I had already at this point built quite like a muscle of having confidence that I can learn new things. And I think also a bit of arrogance still at this point, I will admit, a bit of arrogance where, as a former high coder, I was like, well, I've got something to bring to the table here at a
huh,
low code company that, you know,
uh-huh.
I know how it actually works.
Yeah.
um, but mostly that I have a really, really deep conviction that I can learn new things.
Is it a conviction that you can learn new things? Because that I believe, but what I also sense is that um, you feel comfortable pitching yourself to someone. So you come across as really self-confident, and I don't see that as arrogant, but per se, but it's more like it takes an amount of self-confidence and self-knowledge. And I understand the part about I've done this before, but then still to go to someone who's senior, who's maybe open to it, maybe not, and bring this story to me is quite, yeah, I applaud you for doing it. Let me put it that way.
Thanks.
Takes a lot of self-confidence also. That's,
Yeah, which is funny because I can also be really shy. And I can also be yeah, a lot of people don't think that, but I can really be shy. I also have my self-doubts, absolutely.
uh-huh,
I think what helped in this situation, like Matthijs and I already had a good relationship.
mm-hmm,
Like we hadn't worked together, but we knew each other and we had a good sort of social at work connection.
yeah.
So that helps.
So one of the things that I was listening to an interview you did with our mutual friend Michiel Rijt on Journeys of Empowerment, and one of the things that stuck with me is that you sort of feel very happy almost, very confident in situations where you're totally insecure about the outcome.
Yeah.
You don't mind taking a bit of risk, let me put it that way. So what makes this uncertainty energizing? Because for most people, this is like really paralyzing. And
Yeah.
what makes it energizing for you?
I think it's part ADHD, honestly. Um, I'm a total procrastinator. Like I thrive on that sort of deadline, the pressure. You have to like do
Uh-huh.
it now or you have 3 hours left.
Yeah.
That sort of dopamine rush.
Yeah.
I actually saw a talk by someone who said like, you're literally self-medicating by procrastinating because you're giving your brain like boosts of dopamine.
Yeah.
And I think these like the chaos works similarly for my brain. So I don't mind the challenge. Um, I also experience moments of paralysis. I do have that, but I mostly have that when I need to structure things. So if you would ask me to write a document, create a new document, a completely new structure,
Mhm.
whatever, there I can get into paralysis. Um, I found that AI is super helpful with that
Yeah.
because I can use that as a sparring partner and it
Yeah.
helps me get over that sort of writer's block thing. But I do experience that. But any situation where where there's uncertainty, yes, of course it's scary. But either other people have the answers, so either I can ask people around me and I
Mhm.
have no qualms about asking people for advice,
Mhm.
or no one has the answers. And then all I can do is do my best efforts to get to those answers. And maybe this is also where the more agile mindset comes in.
Mhm.
Everyone or anyone who has worked with me knows that one of my favorite things to say is we take an iterative approach.
Yeah.
But that's really how I see the world. It's all iterative. Like we learn, we try, we fail, we learn from that, we try again, we improve. And that's how I look at uncertainty as well. Like it's baby steps.
Yeah. But what I also hear you say is that, A, that you use the fact that you're ADHD, you use that as a strength.
Yeah.
You really deploy the fact that you can thrive in chaos because your mind is a bit more chaotic than the average human being. Um, you use that to your advantage, but you also uh, sort of de-risk every step in your head. Is that by making the steps smaller or uh, by just figuring out, hey, listen, nobody knows this, so I can't possibly go wrong.
It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. I really break down things into small tasks. So
Huh?
what I did, for example, in my previous role, product operations lead, which led to my current position,
Hmm?
completely new role, um, zero. well, not zero experience. Of course, I had transferable skills, but
Uh-huh.
the product ops role was new.
Mhm.
So I created a 30, 60, 90-day plan in collaboration with my manager,
Mhm.
and just broke it down into, okay, what does success for the first quarter look like? What do you think I should be focusing on?
Mhm.
Can you point me in the right direction for certain things where I should get started? And other things I'll figure out as we go. But really breaking it down into bite-sized chunks and small milestones of success, both for me, but also that I can communicate to my stakeholders and my manager.
Mhm.
It's the same now with my role now, head of portfolio management. Like, that role didn't exist until, well, a couple of weeks ago when they created it for me. There is no, I say that, fixed view of what good looks like
Mhm.
for this role. And so that means I get to shape it. And I do that by both understanding the expectations from my manager and my stakeholders really well, but also by bringing my own flavor to it. And the more you can bring your own flavor to a role, I think the easier it is also to connect and to thrive in a role.
Mhm.
And again, bite-sized chunks. So what are the short-term things that I think are reasonable that I can deliver on? And also managing expectations that some things will take me over a year.
Yeah. Is this also part of the let's say Piggy long stocking approach or
Um,
strategy?
no, not so much. I think the Pippi Longstocking, and it's sad because she's misquoted on this. It's not actually her quote. I've never done it before, so I definitely think I can do it.
Huh.
Her actual quote is a lot more along the lines of, I've never tried this before, so there's no evidence to suggest that I cannot do this.
Yeah.
But I think that's more that bravado that, yeah, I've never done this, so why why should
Yeah.
I believe that I cannot do this? Like, let's just try and let's see. So I think that let's try and see if I can do this. That's more the Pippi Longstocking mindset, and that is the taking risk, pivoting your career, being open to learning new things, and the more often you do that, the easier it becomes to also believe that you can learn new things. So if I look
Because you
back to,
have the track
yeah,
records at that point.
exactly, yeah, you're literally building up a track record of of strength and how do you say that, flexibility, problem solving skills. So when I took on that role at Absorb, if you remember my mom saying, "What if you fail?"
Yeah.
Right? My mom was always is a much more careful person than I am.
Mhm.
And the first couple of career pivots, she had still that mindset of, "Oh, are you sure you want to do this?"
Yeah.
Ooh. Nowadays, if I tell her, "Hey, it's time for a new role," she says two things. First, she says, "Yeah, it's been 2 years," or however short it. So she said, "I
Oh.
thought it was about time
Mhm.
that you were gonna do something new."
Yeah.
And then she says, um, "I am sure you're gonna nail this."
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That is like that's also the support you need from parents, from your
yeah,
mother.
yeah. So she started believing that I can learn whatever I wanna, set my mind to. Of course, there are boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Like, I will never be a rocket scientist. That's not my forte. Um, but within
There's no
the
evidence, eh?
true, true. Well, there is the evidence of how like bad I was at school at chemics and physics.
Okay, that doesn't help indeed. No.
There
Yeah,
is some
true.
evidence there.
So,
But within the realm of like reasonable opportunities,
mhm.
right? Why couldn't I learn new things?
So can you take us through a moment that really stretched you in that belief that yes, I can do it? That
What do
really
you mean by stretch?
tested you on it.
Okay. Um, yeah, there is a one role that I took. It's probably one of the most formative experiences of my life, both in a negative and a positive way.
Mhm.
Um, at some point after the app delivery manager role at the app factory, Matthijs's team,
Uh-huh.
my next role was head of HR technology, which 6 months later became head of HR technology and operations. So this was the result of me pitching to our MT during COVID. Hey, we are onboarding so many people completely virtually.
Mhm.
We have really great software to quickly build like a better experience for them. Um, let's do that because I would like to create, if we can't be together physically, I would like to create the environment of feeling at home in our organization and finding your purpose, your individual. Um, yeah, I mean, I was already the lead singer of the Mendix band at that point, right? So
Mhm.
Mendix is really like home to me, and I feel so comfortable there, and I really know what I uniquely bring to this organization.
Mhm.
And I kind of wanted everyone to have that feeling and that sense of belonging, but also acknowledging that that means something different for everyone,
Yeah.
right? So my pitch was, let's build an employee experience suite with our own software that helps people find this in this new reality.
Mhm.
And MT said, okay, let's do that. Come to our people and culture team, so HR, and do it. And while you do that, can you also look at like all the complete tech stack that we have within people and culture, so both talent acquisition and HR,
Mhm.
and see where you can make improvements. We need to do a migration and automate all the things. And I was like, that's a fantastic opportunity, right? Like, let's go. I
Yeah.
was really excited. Um, 6 months into that role, my manager asked me if I also want to take on the operations team. And the operations team is like the admin, so the HR admin team.
Yeah.
And well, she told me that team is functioning really smoothly. All you have to do, like they will do what they need to do. You don't have to worry about that. You don't need to learn HR stuff. You just focus on where you can automate things and maybe introduce them to more agile way of working.
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take that on. Turns out that team was not functioning smoothly at all. Some people called in sick. Uh, yeah, quite shortly after I took on that role. There's definitely also a mismatch of characters, right? I
Mhm.
also take some ownership here of me coming from a hard technical background, always having worked with men, and
Mhm.
all of a sudden I had to be a manager of a team of women, which is definitely also I learned a lot there from communication, etc.
Mhm.
But also definitely some people thought like they didn't want to have a manager that didn't understand what they did. They didn't want a non-HR manager. So as a result of that, I
Is
found
the
myself,
just
yeah.
just a question? Is that, and this is just me with the thesis? Is that part of the fact that they were an operations team? And I'll give you a bit of a feel why I think this, because I started out my career at ING at an operations team.
Hmm.
And back then, I remember we got a new manager around the same time I joined, and he didn't know the processes. He didn't come from inside. He didn't. Well, yeah, he cared about people, but not as much about the processes. And he had a really, really rough first 2 years, I would say, before he got embedded into the team because he wasn't an ops person. So my thesis is this is particularly for ops people. It is necessary to have a manager, or they feel it's necessary that they have a manager who knows their stuff. In this case, in your case, HR.
Yeah, I think that could very well be. Um, they would also look at me like, you are my manager. You're supposed to give me the answers of what I should be doing. And I'm like, I don't have those answers for you.
No, and you were raised like, oh, here's a YouTube video, here's a Google term, go fix.
Yeah, go figure it out. And I was mostly surprised, like why they were doing certain processes inconsistently. So I was approaching it very technically, right? They had a whole process of things to check off, for example, when you're onboarding someone. And then for person A, they did step 3 and 4. And for person B, they did step 5 and 6, but skipped 3 and 4. And I was like, there's no logic into where the system is broken. And it was definitely a very broken system. I think if we would have been audited back then, we would have had like some challenges.
Yeah.
And me just approaching it very technical, I was like, doesn't make sense. Why are you skipping these steps here and doing it there? And but I was just not the manager that they needed at that time, I think. So as a result, I found myself having to learn HR. So I was working, I think, 16-hour days, doing 3 jobs at the same time. So managing that team, also still managing the build of the employee experience suite, and then handling an inbox because my people were out on sick leave, and there was a backlog of 200-300 emails from employees that hadn't been answered for like 2 months or longer that we needed to clean up. And it was roll up the sleeves and go. And this was it was a really, really hard time. I also quickly realized that I find HR, I have a lot of respect for HR people. It's hard work, but the content of the job doesn't appeal to me. So I don't get excited about benefits or policies. That whole thing, it just doesn't do it for me. Did get that team back on track. Also burned out during this period. Did not take sick leave because I felt that, first of all, I didn't trust my manager at the time to not demote me instantly if I would call in sick. That had happened before. And at the same time, I was finally like, I'd hired some new people and they were super junior, but there was a positive vibe happening in the team, right? So I felt like we were finally getting out of, exactly. And I did not want to risk me leaving for X amount of time and that team slipping back. And then having to come back at some point and start all over again with fixing it, or even worse. So in Dutch we say tanden op elkaar zetten.
Grind your teeth.
Grind your teeth, yeah. And just, toughen up and keep going. Yeah.
So how did that end up? Besides that you were in a burnout?
Yeah. Well, the team massively improved. Really massively improved.
Was that a matter of also the new people coming in with a slightly different mindset? Like, okay, let's just roll up the sleeves.
Yeah. We replaced some people. We found, one person, Sarah. If she ever listens to this, she knows how massively grateful I am to her.
Yeah, you started to smile even before you mentioned her name.
Yeah, she was like my rock. And one thing, also, one of the other women on the team that had that manager role before I got it, but she had been on sick leave, and then I got that role basically. So there, understandably, there was frustration on her side. And our the first months in that relationship was really, really rocky. And at some point I had a conversation with her and I was like, if you're coming back, because she had been on sick leave for some time during my first months there, if you're coming back, then I need you to be on my side. Like, we always had a good relationship and I really needed you. And I think in ways I may have failed you, but you definitely failed me as well. And if you're coming back now, I am more than happy to say, let's forget about everything and start like clean slate with a positive relationship again with the two of us. But I need you on my team because I cannot do this job without you. And then she opened up about some of her frustrations that she had with, obviously, like, understandably, the team being taken away from her because she got sick, which I totally understood. And we really reconnected through that conversation. And she also was a massive help after that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that really pulled that team together. And that also gave me some breathing space, gave me some air to also focus on my own recovery. Like, I lost, I think, almost 50% of my hair during that period. It was falling out like handfuls at a time. Like every time I washed it, I would have like a handful of hair. And
That's not exactly normal.
no,
Not even
no,
for men, by the way.
no, no. And I was in denial, right? I was so in denial about the whole situation. And I remember, like, when I was already out of it,
Mm-hmm.
I went to my GP, and then I had a conversation with. They had like a psychologist attached to
Yeah,
um,
to the practice.
yeah, exactly. So I had a conversation with her, and I was like, "Yeah, I think I came really close to a burnout because this happened, and then that happened, and then this happened to my hair."
Mm.
And she starts laughing, and she goes, "Oh, sweetie, you think you came really close to a burnout? Do you have any idea the amounts of stress your body must have been on or under for that to happen to your hair? Like, just start saying you burned out."
How
Um,
how did that conversation make you feel?
Good. It was very validating, I think. For the longest time, I also couldn't talk about this period. Like, it was in complete sort of suppressing all of the stress and the pain that I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And I also felt, because I never stopped working, that I didn't like, that I wasn't entitled to say that I burned out.
Yeah, you weren't
And have
really sick
Yeah, exactly, right?
because
Um,
otherwise you would have been sick at home.
yeah. And having someone acknowledge that, well, actually, maybe you should just start admitting that this was really like rock bottom, and the fact that you worked through that, um, maybe says something about you, but doesn't say anything about the fact whether you burned out or not.
So what
Um,
did it teach you about yourself?
that there's a word that I like in English,
Mm-hmm.
bounce back ability.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of bounce back ability.
Yeah,
Um,
resilience.
yeah, resilience. But also, I think the most important lesson, because I already knew that, right? Growing up with for the listeners, I grew up with a dad with cancer. Like, my dad passed away when I was 25, 24,
Mm-hmm.
after like 12, 13 years of yeah, tension and hospitals and whatnot. So that resilience, that sort of, you have to keep going.
Yeah,
That is sort of, yeah, ingrained in my personality so strongly from just growing up in that situation.
yeah,
So I already knew that I had that. What I didn't know is that I have boundaries. And I think and that's why I also look back on this period with a sense of positivity.
mm-hmm.
I learned that I have boundaries. Before that, I thought I was limitless, right? Like, I could do anything, and that no ask was too much, and I would just suck it up and keep going because that was how I was raised. And learning, like, oh, you really actually physically have a boundary here.
Uh-huh.
And even though you are mentally strong enough to completely ignore that and push through, this is what
Mm.
happens to you physically. I lost a lot of weight, I lost a lot of hair, etc. It looked horrible. Um, you need to start listening to you more seriously. So I've become a lot more gracious towards myself, and through that, I think also to others.
Yeah. So what does being gracious to yourself then mean? What did you change in terms of maybe work ethic or maybe other things you do to quote unquote treat yourself? Are there special
Yes.
things that you do to keep yourself sane?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Um, there is traveling. So for the longest time, I just worked, and I didn't really take um that, like, I have still leftover PTO from years,
Yeah.
right? So I have made a renewed agreement with myself to take more vacation. So actually, at the end of this year, I'll be off to Asia for 2 months. I'll be working for some of that time from Asia remotely, but also I'll be enjoying my life. That's a really big part. I listen to my body. So there are like, you're not 100% productive every day, especially when you have ADHD.
Mhm,
Like it ebbs and flows, but that's normal for everyone.
mhm,
You cannot always be sharp. So I have accepted that there are days when I am super productive and I may even work like 10, 11 hours on such a day and just like totally crush it.
mhm.
And at the same time, there are days where I need to take a nap after lunch because I'm exhausted
Yeah.
and I just do that. Or I just have a less productive day and I just accept that. I
How do, how do,
have
how does your environment respond to that? Because you're in literally in a man's world
yeah,
where let's say the hormone levels are sort of stable. They do fluctuate, but they're pretty stable, and it's only one hormone. Whereas for you, it's a different ball game, and
yeah,
sometimes you do indeed need a nap in the afternoon. Is that something you
yeah.
can actually fit in? That is
I do, but
accepted?
yeah, but I also have the luxury of being able to plan my own day, right? So I have a lot of trust from my organization that comes from delivering results again and again, right?
Mhm,
That no one's checking the clock on me.
mhm,
Um, but also I have had a conversation with my manager. Like my Fridays, I try. It doesn't always happen every Friday. Sometimes I have to have meetings, but I try to have my Fridays free so I can read a book, and that's of course in a book that's related to work.
mhm,
But I will sit in a cafe for 3 hours with a book and just read, and that's like my downtime or my slow time. I'm still working on self development then, but my manager knows that, and he accepts that. He encourages it because I think like most people around me worry that I work too much.
mhm. Okay.
So they are always quite happy to hear that I have moments of
Of
that
downtime
I
as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That you're actually
And
human.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I've also stopped or try. Sometimes I still do it, and then afterwards I think, "Oh, you're setting a bad example here." Like I've stopped sending messages after work hours to people or stopped responding to emails after work hours because it sends a message to other people that they should like always be on.
Mhm,
Um, Sometimes still forget it. Like I'm not perfect, but I try to do that. And I go to the gym a lot. Like I think that is for me the the thing that's keeping me sane um, is exercising.
yeah. Yeah, there's no such thing as a good workout to keep
Yeah,
your mind uh, or clean up your mind. So
yeah,
I do that with runs and with we talked just before we started. We talked about this with hit so high intensity workouts. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
For me,
find.
it's weightlifting, but it's just I don't know. It's a really good stress relief. And about the hormones,
Mhm,
yeah, it's absolutely that impacts you as a woman, right? I don't
mhm,
mind talking about that openly. There are a couple of days in the month, and I think my partner experiences that more than work, but where I have brain fog, I am emotional. I don't necessarily get angry, but I get super like anything will make me cry. I will what was it last time? I was watching some YouTube it was Diary of CEO, but
mhm,
talk about like the impact of AI and how we're going to have mass unemployment within 10 years from now.
mhm,
And I started becoming like we were talking. I started becoming emotional, and we just look at each other, and I go, "I think I'm about to get my period," and he's like, I didn't want to say it, but I thought the same thing because
Yeah,
last month it was Palestine, and now it's this.
yeah, yeah,
um, so yeah, it does impact you, and of course, like I'll be 40 um, in 1 month. Time flies, and yeah, then you hit a whole new world of scary hormonal stuff as a woman, right? The
yeah.
perimenopause, the menopause. Um,
Is that
I
something you
think
read into?
yes, yeah, and I find it quite scary. Um, and I make light of it. And like the most like what I say about it is like I have ADHD. I already have brain fog like quite often.
Mhm.
I don't want to know what my brain is like
Yeah,
on a when I get like the perimenopausal brain fogs. Like, will I still have a brain? So it's scary. And yeah, it's just one of those things as a woman where there's not a lot of good help, supports out there.
not yet.
Thankfully, I'm part of a network of women that
Mm.
dive into these things and talk about hormone replacement therapy, etc.
Mhm.
So I'm definitely reading up on this. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like the hormone replacement therapy is the holy grail, huh?
No.
There's
No.
there's different ways to experience perimenopause for different women, and for you with ADHD, it's also totally unknown, uncharted territory in terms of healthcare.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which is
100%.
something that worries me a lot because there's many women who get diagnosed with ADHD at a later stage. How was it with you, by the way?
I
Eh,
was 19.
Okay, so that's, let's say, quite early on,
Yeah.
relative. Okay, so let's switch to your current job because you're now head of product portfolio management at Mendix. Um, what do you do? And let's start there because, and I know
Yes.
you said before that you are only a few months into this role and you're shaping the role, but what is it shaping up to as we speak?
Yeah. So what I'm currently doing is standardizing or formalizing the process of how we make investment decisions at Mendix. And that could be organic or inorganic growth.
Hmm.
Organic meaning we build it ourselves, so our
Hmm.
R&D department
Yeah.
builds a capability. Inorganic, we partner with an existing company or we look into a merger and acquisition
Hmm.
strategy. Of course, we already had all kinds of processes to make decisions, right? It's not like for the past 20 years, Mendix has been making decisions based on gut
Uh,
feelings. But to really standardize that process
mhm.
and put guardrails in place, and also bring because the R&D department and the um, corporate development department,
Mhm.
as you will, um, didn't really follow the same process yet. They
Mhm.
a bit disconnected. So to bring them into a similar process where we one look at investment decisions, the big bets,
Mhm.
right? What's the long-term impact of this? But also approaching it much more from a cross-departmental alignment perspective. So really getting that formal buy-in from our go-to-market organization,
Mhm.
from our marketing organization, from our finance organization, and to really have that formalized, that is a new thing that I'm introducing.
Okay.
And as a part of that as well, portfolio performance reviews. So of course we look at data. Of
Mhm.
course we look at like how certain capabilities are performing, how they're being adopted, or if they're driving revenue or new logos, etc.
Mhm.
But again, a formalized process where we create dashboards where we can really look at this as a holistic view, again, from our own portfolios and Mendix build stuff
Mhm.
and the inorganic piece. That is new. So that's what I'm creating right now in collaboration with our data sciences team and our finance team.
Mhm.
And also to be able to use that in investment decisions. So if we come from a hyper growth time,
Mhm.
right? So I think the past, I don't know, maybe the whole 20 years that Mendix existed,
Mhm.
it was always the sky is the limit, right? We were a hyper scale up. So if a new capability needed to be built, we just created a new team.
Mhm.
You added headcounts to the payroll and you started building that.
Yeah.
And at some point, you reach a level of maturity in an organization where that is no longer, well, it's not that it's not an option, but it's not the default, right? You
Uh-huh.
need to also start looking differently. So having that portfolio performance data is also going to help drive those discussions. So if we want to make an investment here, are there things in our platform that are such, I don't know, I use the Boston matrix, right? Cash cows,
Yeah.
dogs, stars, etc.
Yeah.
That is such a cash cow that we can keep it going with minimal maintenance and we can put that team somewhere else for the time being?
Mhm.
Or is there something that is so underperforming and it's just really not getting that adoption? And should we just maybe have the difficult conversation with each other that we will stop investing in this and
Yeah.
move that investment, those resources to this new opportunity?
Yeah.
Um,
So
and that
if
is
I hear you
something,
correctly, it's also not only reviewing how do they perform, but also taking the action on it. Okay, what are we going to do with it, and do
yeah,
we need to do something, stop doing something, or invest in something new to
yeah. Or
replace
should we
it,
invest more, right? Like it could also
or
be that you built a capability and you thought like within 1 year it's gonna yield X
yeah.
percentage of adoption,
Hmm.
whatever. 1 year later, you look at it and you go, well, it's not quite there.
Hmm.
That's a moment to have a conversation with each other. Like, okay, so what are we going to do about this? Are we going to give it more time
Hmm.
with are we going to go on the same path and just give it more time?
Hmm.
Are we going to invest more? Because we still think that there is like a real opportunity here, but it just needs that extra push. Or do we need to say, and that happens, right? That happens in like any industry, but especially in software. Sometimes you just build something where you think the market wanted it, and it turns out they don't.
How does AI play into this? Because you've been in tech long enough to see AI come up for a bit more than just the what everyone knows with ChatGPT and Claude.
Yeah,
How does AI help you do this? Does it at all?
not yet. But I'm actually doing a course, an AI course at the moment, aimed more at business people,
Huh?
to see if what I can learn there to make AI um, work for me in this process. Of course, I use AI like every other person for a lot of productivity tasks. Right?
Uh-huh.
If I need to send out
Yeah.
a briefing for a big meeting, whatever, like AI is my best friend.
Yeah.
And I use it as a sparring partner to test theories. But I still have those same conversations with my peers and my manager as well. Right? It's just that first conversation maybe I have with AI.
Are those
Uh,
conversations different in terms of content?
Sorry.
Are those conversations different in terms of content between having the conversation with AI and having a conversation with a human?
Yes.
How?
Um, because AI cannot bring the Mendix history and context. So AI could suggest, like, hey, you could try this approach.
Huh?
And that in theory could sound really well. But we may have already tried something
Huh?
similar in the past. And there may be reasons why that doesn't work at Mendix. So that context. Although I have to say that now with Copilot connected to everything that I do, that's really powerful. Like I
Huh?
can literally ask Copilot now, um, like give me a summary of everything I discussed with my executive stakeholders about this topic over the past weeks,
Huh?
etc. And it's so context aware and it's really starting to pull that together. So that's a really helpful tool.
Huh?
Um, but again, it only knows what has been shared in writing or in transcripts
Yeah.
of meetings. And that whole, yeah, some of our executives have been at Mendix like 10, 12, 15 years.
Yeah. It
They have
doesn't
so much
take what's in the
knowledge.
head.
Yeah.
There's a lot of knowledge,
Yeah.
and that prompts me to my the question I still had. How difficult is it because you're developing something new, something where I would say by default even it's really important to understand also the context in which decisions in the past have been taken. Um, Generally, my experience is that those decisions are not fully documented. Part of them are in terms of formalized meeting minutes, etc. But most of them are sort of implicit. How difficult is it to fill in the blanks?
Immensely. And there's also a very big human aspect of people not necessarily appreciating if you go digging around in old decisions, especially if that could mean that the conclusion is that maybe we should have made a different decision.
Yeah, their hobbies.
Yeah, yeah. So I have fully accepted that within this role, not everyone is going to like me.
Mhm,
This is a massive, massive change management like trajectory project,
mhm,
where people will have to adopt a new way of working. There will be a higher level of accountability. That's like no one's hobby, except mine. Um, and it will force people to work differently, and it will also force some difficult conversations here and there.
yeah.
And I fully expect to not like not everyone is always going to be grateful that I'm doing that. But for me, the bigger picture is our company's success and doing the right things. And sometimes you need to have difficult conversations to do the
Mhm,
right things. But for now, to answer your question, I'm not really looking back. I'm mostly focusing on looking forward. So with
okay.
any new decisions that we make, we follow this process. And as we start getting a better view of how our portfolio is performing, and when we start having those conversations around, oh, we need to pull resources from somewhere,
Mhm.
what's that going to be? Then maybe we need to bring that historical context in
Yeah,
of
okay. So
why
for
did
the
we
moment, you're basically powering your way through it, moving forward instead
yeah,
of opening up all those old wounds and
yeah,
decisions that some people might have actually never agreed with because
yeah. And
they've were
it's also not relative that much, I think. I mean, at some point we're gonna have a conversation about that a certain capability might not be performing to the level that we want it to,
yeah.
right? Does it really matter like what how the decision was made 5 years ago to build this capability? Um, does it really matter that much what the hopes and dreams for this capability back then were? Yes, of course. If you want to like decide if you're going to discontinue something or not, or change the path that you're taking with something,
Mhm.
that is important. But I am confident that any decision that we have taken over the past 20 years has always been with the best intentions and with the best data at that point. So with the knowledge of that moment, the best decisions were made. But in hindsight, yeah, hindsight's 2020. You may come
Yeah.
to a different realization.
Hindsight is
But
always really easy.
yeah, yeah, of course, because then you have all the data, and
Yeah.
then it's yeah. Um, so keeping it out of a definitely not a blame game, but also not a an individual like not making it about the product manager or not making it about whoever made that decision. Sometimes something just doesn't land, even though all our data at the time suggested that it would. That would be something really big.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just wrong,
Mhm.
and that happens.
Or sometimes history overtakes you.
Yeah. Or something like AI comes along,
Yeah.
right? And it just like upends everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for women listening, if they're in a similar situation, how can they? Is this some sort of also again going back to the Pippi Longstocking way of working? What playbook can they take from this
For what exactly? For how
for
to drive
how
their career or
in the world for managing this type of changes?
mm,
One thing I heard you say is don't look too much at the past. At some point you will have to, but maybe for the time being, look at going forward how to shape the future. Not. reshape the past.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think especially with change projects, right?
Mm.
You want like digital transformation or like this is more business transformation. You want to have early successes and you want this to start from a place of positivity.
Yeah.
If you want to get people on board, right, they need to believe in why you are doing something. So the value behind it, and you want to get people excited. So people don't get excited about being pointed at like things that went wrong
Mm.
in the past. People get excited about, oh, with this new process, we got funds to like build this new capability and
Mm.
everyone supported it and because of that it got adopted way better. Um so focus on achieving short-term wins that first of all people will start believing what you're doing, like you as a individual contributor or as a manager, it doesn't matter,
Mm.
but you as a person in this job, they will start believing in you.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly they start believing in the process. And it might even become fun for them, although that might be wishful thinking in my case. I don't know. I do hope that, but a lot of people are excited about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people are excited about it because they have been like, well, wanting something like this for a long time. And I don't know why it never happened. If it was voiced or if it wasn't voiced and people just didn't act on it. And I
Mm.
just sort of maneuvered myself into this gap that I saw. And pretty much like that first conversation that I had with Matthijs, right? Like, or actually the second conversation with Matthijs. I think you need this. This is what I can bring. Let me fix it.
Yeah.
And that's how this started as well, because our SVP R&D got a request from our CEO to start doing portfolio management to bring up that portfolio overview of performance.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can help you with that. Would you like me to help you with that? And then I asked my manager as well, would you be okay with me helping him with
Yeah.
that? And they were both, yeah, sure, do it. And I just took it on and I started collaborating with people and really driving their project. And that's how I like ended up in this role because I had a conversation with my manager after a time and said, listen, I think we need to have a chat because my job title says operations, but I don't do operations. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And I think we need to acknowledge that. Um, but yeah, small steps, get people excited, go for the easy wins at first, right? Don't try to boil the ocean. Pick a low-hanging fruit, something that you go like, "Oh, this can be, like, really smooth through the process. We'll get a positive outcome without too much friction." People can get used to the process, by that, and it also is a positive experience, and maybe not the biggest impact, but it will be a positive experience, and then the next time you pick a little bit of a
More difficult thingy, and then so you build your way gradually up
yeah.
in also in terms of complexity.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that gives people the chance to also build a bit of a muscle for this, right? For them to gradually adopt this.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful. Start with the easy stuff, the low hanging fruits.
Yeah.
It's something that is always said, but hardly ever done. But because we also like to do big bangs.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Hey, so what is the importance? How important is communication about what you do, and communication about your successes? So telling the story about, hey, this is what I did, this is how it ended up, this is what we can do with it. How important is that for to make the change effectively?
Massively. I think people under communicate, myself included. I should probably even be communicating more than what I do. I also have a tendency to sort of withdraw into my little cocoon of thinking, and then once I think it's good enough, I come out.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, like I acknowledge that I could do a better job at communicating, but it's massively important. One tip that I got from uh, Dr. Kara Antoine from Capgemini
mhm,
that I have started using is I write a monthly executive memo to all my executive stakeholders, highlighting what I've been doing the past month, whom I collaborated with. So, from a cross departmental collaboration, like these are the projects that we're running, this is what's ongoing, this is where I need some input from you. or this is what I would like you to action. But to make sure that I have a monthly, and they never respond to it, which is fine. But I know they read it, and that gives me a really easy way to keep them in the loop of
Yeah.
what we're doing. But it also makes me visible.
Yeah.
And I think
And
that's
also
where,
shows that you're taking accountability.
yeah, yeah, because I give myself deadlines and I communicate back. Uh, Also, if we made the deadline or not, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think a lot of people, maybe women especially, but I think people in general struggle with being visible, especially in Dutch culture. I think we are raised so much of that we need to be humble and
Ja,
that
it's the head above
exactly the
hoofd over het
field.
maaiveld
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Hoge bomen vangen veel wind.
Yeah,
Alle like all the sayings are there
yeah,
to just be conformist
yeah.
and normal and not like brag or I don't think it's even bragging. It's not bragging. Like
It's
you're literally just saying
just
what you did.
yeah,
But we see that as bragging somehow.
yeah,
We feel that that is bragging.
yeah,
But being visible has been the biggest catalyst for my career. I cannot
mm,
emphasize enough
yeah,
the importance of being visible in an
yeah.
organization.
Sounds like a great place to close and to move to my last two questions.
Yes.
Simone, I really, 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 really enjoyed this conversation. It's a bit different from what I scripted, but yeah, I think this was really a lot of fun. So with fundcoach.ai, I'm building a tool for female founders to let's say bridge the gap between them and investors to help them get more and better funding. Um, from your perspective, what is one important ingredient for this app that is necessary to make it a really big success and to also help women without replicating biases?
Yeah, I think that's the big challenge with AI, right?
Yeah.
The inherent bias that is already present
Hmm.
in AI because it's predominantly built by men
Hmm.
using data that predominantly features men.
Yeah.
Um,
And was generated by men.
yes, exactly. And I'm currently listening to a podcast about breaking down patriarchy. It's really interesting because it's really like a historical view into the whole creation of patriarchy without like it being super negative towards men, just like
Mhm.
the historical facts of how things got to be where they are. And um, if there isn't data to represent females that represents the female successes that have been there,
Mhm.
right? If that data, because it wasn't, there was no writing about it, or people were like not credited the way they should have been.
Yeah.
Like all of that data is still influencing everything that AI is learning from. So for me, that is I think the biggest challenge with AI, and that is in wherever you use it, right? The same with AI applications for talent acquisition, the bias part. And I don't have an answer for how to fix it,
Mhm.
except for involving more women
Yeah.
in training models and actively feeding it with success stories from female founders. Yeah,
That would be a good start.
yeah. But I'm
Fortunately,
really excited
there's
that you're doing this.
yeah, yeah. I was about to say, fortunately, there's what is it, 130 something episodes with success stories, which is essentially also why I'm doing this podcast. So,
Yeah. And thank you for doing that. I think it's really great to have a platform like this for women to have a voice, and also for honest conversations, right? I think our conversation today, I really enjoyed it as well.
hmm.
Um, I did not expect to be talking about perimenopause today,
Now,
but we did, and I think it's really important that we did.
yeah, yeah, I think and I think so too. So thanks a lot,
Thank you.
Simone Mink, for this conversation. If people would like to learn more about you, about the work you're doing at Mendix, and connect with you, where would you like to send them?
They can look me up on LinkedIn. So Simone Mink on LinkedIn. They should be able to find me there.
Yeah.
I am currently building my own website, so simonemink.com. Probably by the time this episode goes live,
Yeah.
my website will be live as well. So they can
In
look me up
Asia, you
there.
have a lot of time to finish that.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And yeah, also an open invite to anyone. I do keynotes on, if I may shamelessly
Yeah,
pitch myself for a second. I do
please.
keynotes on unlimited growth mindset, on pivoting your career, on thriving, like despite or maybe because of being neurodivergent and through the setbacks that everyone faces in their life, like how
Hmm.
you can use that to your advantage, or at least not let it define you and let it
Yeah,
be weakness. So yeah, if anyone is interested in learning more about me, then please send them my way.
cool. And we'll include those links in the show notes. And yeah, so if you need a keynote speaker who's inspiring, you've just had a flavor. If you need more flavor, you can listen to Journeys of Empowerment with Simone, which is also a very great way to get to know her a bit more personally, I would say. So Simone Mink, once again, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
listeners, thank you very much for listening. And until the next episode, as always, keep being awesome. Well, that's it for episode 133 of Women Disrupting Tech, titled Building a Tech Career on Agency, Agility, and Bouncebackability with Simone Mink. Thank you for listening. If you've ever thought that you need the right background to break into tech, I hope Simone's stories showed you otherwise. Curiosity and self-advocacy will take you further than the perfect credentials ever will. And that brings me to you. What was your pippy moment in this conversation? Or which of the takeaways hit home with you? I'd love to hear from you in the comments on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Or simply send me a message on LinkedIn. If you want to connect with Simone directly, you can find her on LinkedIn and on her website. And all the links are in the show notes at womendisruptingtech.blog. Just click the link in the caption. And if this conversation resonated with you, here's how you can help other women find it. Take a moment to rate and review the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you don't ever miss another episode. Once again, thank you for listening. I wish you a happy, healthy, and prosperous 2026. And until the next episode, as always, keep being awesome.